All right. Once again, I want to say a very good morning, good afternoon to everyone from wherever you're joining across the world. And thank you for joining our session today. Like I said earlier, my name is Ha-Shem, and I'm so glad to have everyone on this call today. And we have just one reason, just one purpose of being here today, and that is what you can see right there on your screen. And it says AI is not after your job. IT wants to help out. That is why we are here today. And I want to welcome you officially to this webinar today, where we are going to be looking at how Copilot transforms everyday task in Microsoft 365. And basically, today we're going to be showing you how you should ditch the misconception, the myth, and the idea that has been on for so long that AI is coming for everybody's job, and most especially the new Copilot for Microsoft 365. I'm just going to give a brief introduction of myself and the speaker for today before we go ahead. My name is Ha-Shem. Like I said before, I'm the marketing team lead at Ha-Shem Limited, and I am a seasoned marketing professional with over 4 years of dedicated service to Ha-Shem Limited, where I also currently serve as the team lead for the marketing department. I'm also a passionate advocate for digital transformation, and constantly I tend to explore different innovative technologies and trends, that come on board just so that we all can stay ahead of the curve. And I also have my speaker for today on the call. I have Mohammed Mamdou, and he is also a Microsoft solution area specialist when it comes to modern workplace. He is also a seasoned professional in the realm of modern workplace solutions, and he currently serves in this position with Microsoft since August 2023. He also has a passion for harnessing the full potential of modern workplace solutions, and this has made him an invaluable asset, helping different businesses to achieve their goals for the new year, FY24. Now, who are we at Ha-Shem Limited? I believe that some of us here are already used to the name Ha-Shem Limited. And also we have new people on this call that are just getting to know about Ha-Shem. So Ha-Shem Limited is an IT company in Lagos, Nigeria, and we have our tentacles across the world. And we are also a trusted IT solutions provider that has been on for over 20 years now. We have been assisting businesses with overcoming their IT challenges with success. And also we have different IT solutions that are designed to enhance your business's productivity and efficiency. Now, at Ha-Shem Limited, we have experts in IT solutions. We specify in identifying and addressing the needs, of different organizations, giving them different killer solutions that can help them, to achieve workforce effectiveness within their organization. Now, today's webinar is about one thing and one thing only, and that is about how Copilot transforms everyday tasks in Microsoft 365. There is a new AI in town, and I believe that most of us must have known about it. There's a new AI in town that has been trending for months now, and it is called Microsoft Copilot. But outside of that, we also have another one called Copilot for Microsoft 365. They are different names actually, and that is what we are going to be looking at today. Now, there is a saying that says where there is no rule, then there is no sin, and that is why we have housekeeping rules today. Number one is to keep your mic muted, which of course we have done for you already. And once it's time, we are going to make sure that we unmute everybody here. And also, I also want you to know that the call is being recorded and it's going to be shared with you via email once published. And lastly, we are going to be sharing a feedback and survey form at the end of this session. So thank you so much. I'm going to be handing over to the speaker now, who is going to go ahead with the session. Hello, Mohammed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed. I'm a modern work solution specialist at Microsoft. And today I will be talking about AI and Microsoft Copilot. I'll share my screen right now so that we can. Give me a second. Here we go. So the screen should load on your Teams meeting window. So to start talking about Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, I have to first let like make sure that all of you are familiar with the concept of AI and maybe at some point used it on maybe Google Gemini or OpenAI ChatGPT. But when talking about AI in this perspective, we have to understand that this is the same engine used in OpenAI, as Microsoft now is working with OpenAI. And now ChatGPT's engine is being used here. But the challenge was that this is a business environment. Now we're introducing Copilot to the business environments, and we're trying to get the best out of artificial intelligence in your day-to-day work inside your organization. So the whole challenge was to it's about understanding how M365 works in the first place. Then we would make sense of how AI would work with M365. So to give you a little idea about that, Microsoft 365 is operating through something called the Microsoft Graph. Graph now is it's like the back end of M365. It's the connected experiences that allow you to use all the services and getting them to synchronize together at the same time. And that's the strength point of M365. So, for example, if someone shared with you an email with an attachment, and you opened this attachment and you started making changes. Let's say it's a word file. This word file now is available on your OneDrive, and it's available on your SharePoint, and also on your email where you received it. And your email can be opened from the Outlook desktop application or from the web platform of Outlook. And if you started making changes to that file, then these changes will synchronize on all these platforms I just told you about, and also in the recipient end, if the recipient gave you the proper permissions to edit the file. So these connected experiences, these connected applications are working together through this platform here, which is Microsoft Graph. As Graph actually includes all the data of your organization, starting from the very first identity that was created up until every single private message on Teams that any user sent or received. So all the data is there, but your accessibility as a user to the data on Graph is controlled by your permissions. What are you authorized to access actually? So if you are authorized to see something, then you will see it, but if not, because everything is on Graph. If you are not authorized, then you're not going to see it. So now, when we try to introduce artificial intelligence to the business environments, then that was done through Microsoft Graph, since it has all the data that is required for AI to understand everything about your organization. Now, artificial intelligence is actually still has access to everything on the web. So the AI now is combining the information that is out there with the information that is inside your organization, and then it's tailored for every user. So when you ask AI a question, the answer will be different from when your colleague asks AI the same question. Why? Because simply you have accessibility to different resources than your colleague. For example, let's say I'm discussing a project with one of my colleagues, and I shared a lot of information about that project with my colleague. Information that is not public, so it's something that I'm sharing in a private chat. I have also sent my colleague some attachments, some emails, and we had a couple of meetings about it, right? Now, if I, like a week later, for example, ask an AI a question about this project, I will get an answer that will scan every single piece of information that I have access to give me information about this project. And my private chat will be scanned. My emails will be scanned. The meetings I attended will be scanned. Now, let's say my manager is asking AI the same exact question about the same project. The result will be completely different because they don't have access to my private chat. Only myself and my colleague who I was speaking with have access to this chat, and the information was shared in this chat. So When my manager asks the AI the same question, the answer they will get will be dependent on the resources they have access to, like the public internet, maybe something that was shared internally with the whole organization, but not my private chats, not my emails if my manager is not CC'd, not my meetings if they were not invited. So yeah, you get the idea. Now, we understood graph. What is large language models? Large language models, in simple terms, is what makes AI capable of understanding what what you're writing down and giving you the or sharing with you the information in a way that is 100% relevant to your question, customized just for your questions to give you the best answer possible. You don't have to worry about grammatic issues or if you're misspelling a word or if you're writing something that is not in the, it doesn't make a perfect sense. We usually recommend giving AI as much details as needed so that you can get the most perfect answer and the most relevant answer to your question. So now we understand that we have AI now in business environments, and it knows now everything about my organization plus everything on the public internet, so I can start using it. We need now to talk about the security aspect. The first security aspect of AI is we as a host. Microsoft has been hosting your data for many years now, and any customer who is using Microsoft products, of course, Graph is there. Every single piece of data you ever used is there. It's somewhere on Graph. And we don't have access to that data. We only host it for you, giving you tools and means to manage, to protect, and to utilize this data. But we don't have eyes on that data. It's like we're renting you an apartment so that you can live there, but we're not living with you. We don't know what you're doing there. We're only giving you electricity, we're giving you water since we built that place, but we're not living with you. So we're only giving you the means so that you can manage and utilize that data. So that's how it works basically. Your data is your data. AI, of course, it does train itself, but this training is happening inside your organization. It doesn't go anywhere. We don't actually get a verbatim of whatever you ask in AI or whatever information AI provides you, because this is an enterprise grade protection that Microsoft announced, and this is very important to stress on. So this is the first part of the security. I'm going to play you a video about that right now. I encourage you to put your speakers all the way up. It could be a bit low, but yeah, let's take a look at that, and then we'll continue.
Microsoft 365 Copilot is transforming work with the power of generative AI. It's built on Microsoft's comprehensive approach to enterprise-grade security, compliance, privacy, identity, and responsible AI. Copilot automatically inherits your organization's Microsoft 365 security, compliance, and privacy policies, so you know your data is protected and always in your control. It all starts with your Microsoft 365 tenant. Data stored in your tenant is encrypted and only available to the users within that tenant. Your existing Microsoft 365 permissions and policies ensure that data won't leak between users and groups. And Copilot users only have access to data they've been granted permission to see in Microsoft 365, using the same technology customers have relied on for years. Your tenant sits inside the Microsoft 365 service boundary, where Microsoft's commitments to security, compliance, data location, and privacy are upheld. The Copilot large language models, or LLMs, that process your data sit within that same boundary, much like other Microsoft 365 services. Microsoft does not have eyes-on access, which means no one can view your data. Your data is not used to train the LLMs. And our EU customers can be confident that their data is processed within the EU data boundary. Microsoft 365 Copilot, enterprise-grade security and privacy for the era of generative AI.
So that was something worth mentioning, of course, to understand that the security of AI is crucial for you from our end as a host. But there is another aspect of security, which is the internal security. So when your users start interacting with AI and trying to get data from it, as I said in the beginning, it always depends on what you have access to. If you don't have access to a piece of information, there is no possibility you will get an answer related to that information. This is the first thing. The second thing, whenever you're extracting a content and that content has any kind of compliance policy applied on it, then the generated content, your answer basically will inherit the same classification. For example, if you're asking the AI to summarize a Word document into another Word document, that Word document, if it has a DLP applied on it, for example, or any sensitivity label like do not forward or do not download, highly confidential, anything like that, then the generated content will inherit the same sensitivity on the new content. Let me play you that other video so that we can finish the security part, then move to the functionality part.
Microsoft 365 Copilot works with the data security controls you have in place for file access, labeling, classification, and data loss prevention. Mario Rogers works for Violet Martinez, and both are on the same team at Contoso. Mario and Violet are also members in the same group working on Project Falcon. Now we'll start with Violet, who's been working with the procurement and contract management teams to sell their partner ReliCloud 1500 Mark 8 quadcopters. And you can see the file is labeled highly confidential with restricted access, and it describes all the terms in the purchase agreement. Because Violet has access to the file, she's able to search for and find it in SharePoint and Microsoft365.com. And of course, Violet can also navigate to the file's location in the Agreements folder of the project site to find the purchase agreement. So now let's look at Mario's experience. Even though he's on the same team and working on Project Falcon with Violet, if Mario tries to search for the Contoso purchase agreement, he won't find it. And there are a few purchasing documents that he does find without sensitive information, but not the one that Violet's working on. And if Mario knows the location of the purchase agreement and tries to navigate to it directly, it just appears as an empty folder to him. And when Mario launches Word on the web and creates a blank document, then prompts Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the Contoso purchase agreement as a reference file, because Microsoft 365 Copilot respects the file permissions of its user, Copilot also cannot access the purchase agreement. Now, if we switch back to Violet's screen, because she has permission to access the purchase agreement, she can use Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the file. And after a moment, you'll see it created a summary of the purchase agreement, and Violet decides to keep it. Then data security controls for Microsoft Purview discover sensitive information found in the Microsoft 365 Copilot generated content. The document is automatically labeled as highly confidential, and policies are enforced to restrict access to the document.
So that was everything I have to mention about security. And now I will move to the functionality part. We'll leave the questions till the end of the session. So the first thing to talk about in the functionality, and the most important thing, let's say, is the chat. Now you have the same engine as GPT-4, but it's not just dedicated to the public internet, but it also is dedicated to the information inside your organization. For example, let's say you were out of office for a week or two, and then you came back, you found like 200 email messages in your inbox, and you missed like 30 meetings, and many files were shared with you, and many stuff are pending on you now. You want to start, but there are a lot of things to cover, and maybe your next meeting is very soon, so you need to get done with things as soon as you can. So now the challenge is to understand what are the most urgent matters that are pending on you. So the solution right now with Copilot is to open the chatbot, to go to office.com, open the chatbot, or open it from Teams or from wherever it is accessible, and ask the AI, what did I miss? Or maybe ask it, what are the most urgent tasks that are pending on me? Or if you want to know about a specific topic, then you ask it, was this topic mentioned? Then you start getting answers from AI, and you are getting these answers with references. So, for example, If you are expected to do something and that was said in a meeting, and that meeting is captured by AI and you're invited to that meeting, then it will actually provide you with the information. Okay, you are expected to do this task. Here is the reference. When you click on the reference, it will open Microsoft Stream, and the video will open on the part where you were mentioned, and then you would actually hear it if you want. If you trusted the answer, then you can go ahead and proceed with the task. So it has, as I said, access to everything you have access to, and it provides the answers with references. So you can check the reference yourself. If you ask it to maybe prioritize, to tell you and prioritize the important tasks, it will put them in an order. So you can check the tasks. If you wanted to check the references to go back to the email, maybe that an urgent task is pending on you and people are waiting for you, then you can click on it, click on the reference, get back to the email. If you don't, and probably after some time you stop clicking on references and you start proceeding working with AI directly, it will do that. Let me show you another video about M365 chat, just to see how it works in a real life scenario, and then we will continue.
Introducing Microsoft 365 Chat, a powerful new capability in Microsoft 365 to solve your most complex problems at work. Let's say you're a marketer at a national chain of home improvement stores, and you need to get the latest on the store opening. You start your day with Copilot, asking what's hot in your inbox today. It does some thinking and gives you an overview of the most pressing items. Great. Looks like the new store opening plans could use your attention. Let's dive in deeper there. Copilot combs through all your recent emails, chats, documents, and meetings, whether you attended them or not, to get you up to speed in moments. It didn't just summarize a single document, it knew what sources to pull from and what information to extract from each. Next, you need to do some market research. Let's say you want some details on square footage and the proximity of competitors to your new location. M365 Chat scours the web, and within seconds, it finds everything you're looking for. And it includes references, so you can easily fact-check the results. You're curious, how does this stack up against the other stores you opened in the past year? Copilot figures out which stores you mean, crunches the numbers, and gives you the answer. Next on your to-do list, finalize the date and speaker for the opening event. You missed the last meeting, and this might have come up in the conversation. Copilot's got you covered, getting you up to speed in seconds. Looks like it was a dynamic discussion, and it's your responsibility to make the final decision. To do that, you need to understand all the factors at play, including the implications they have on your grand opening timeline. Copilot extracts the relevant details and puts them in an organized table, which helps bring the full picture into view. You're not seeing a clear answer, so you ask it to recommend the best date and speaker based on the constraints discussed. It not only understands the constraints, it thinks through the options to help solve your problem. There you go. Now you have a clear recommendation, so you can make the call and notify the team. Now that you've got your opening date, you've got to get the customers excited. Time to write a blog post. You point Copilot to the right files and ask it to pick the top 5 things and make them prominent. Here it goes. Give it a moment. Okay, now you've got a blog post. This store will be the first to unveil your new home improvement concierge service, and you need a catchy tagline. Let's generate some options. This is great for when you've got a case of writer's block. Here we go. These look pretty good. You want to add a blurb on the new store manager and highlight their impressive retail experience. Copilot pulls the information from LinkedIn and puts it in the blog for you. The opening is just around the corner, and you've got to send an email to get the team ready. Now, one of the amazing things about Copilot is you don't need to worry about things like punctuation, spelling, or being super structured in your prompt. You can just give it a total brain dump, as you can see here. And what you'll find is the more context you give it, the better the results. There was a great quote in the store walkthrough video that you want to include, but you don't remember where you last saw it or have time to search for it, let alone rewatch it to find the quote. Based on your quick description, Copilot can find the exact video you're thinking of, extract the quote you wanted, and plugs both the quote and the video into your email. Let's hop over to Outlook to refine the email. So you like the draft, but it doesn't sound like you. Introducing Sound Like Me in Outlook. Now Copilot can personalize any email to match your unique style and voice. It even gets the subtle details right, like how you sign your emails. M365 Chat is a whole new way to work.
So that was a short demo about M365 Chat, how it works and how it can be utilized in a work environment. Then the next thing I would speak about here is the only disadvantage of M365 Chat is that it only counts on your Microsoft 365 resources, so it doesn't take you anywhere else. Of course, other than the public internet too. So if you ask a question, the answer will be only related to either the public resources of the internet or some information inside your organization. Now, we understand that every organization in the planet doesn't really only count on M365. You have other platforms inside your organization that are internal, exclusive to your organization, but it includes very important data there that the employees are dealing with every day. And then we introduce Copilot Studio. So Studio is a feature in the Copilot license that gives you the capability to add other softwares or platforms to your M365 chat, meaning I am extending the scope of M365 chat outside M365 boundaries. For example, let's say you have some Power BI reports, right? And your sales data, for example, is updating there regularly, like every 30 minutes or something. And you want, when you ask the AI questions, to make actually to be relevant to the updates and the sales. So what you do, since Power BI is not a Microsoft 365 application, it's a Power Platform application. So you connect as an admin this Power BI to the M365 graph using Copilot Studio, and then all the information there, all the statistics there will be actually visible now in your M365. Let's say you have a CRM system or an ERP system. These systems are not necessarily Microsoft systems. As you see here, it says comes with more than 1200 standard and premium connectors. That means you have a lot of pre-built connectors so that you can plug and play. And I'm telling you right now, any software as a service, any SaaS that is hosted on cloud can be connected to Copilot Studio if you have the permissions to connect it. Once you do, you don't even need to connect the whole thing. If you want to connect a specific partition of that resource to Studio, you can do that. And once you do it once, it will remain there. And then if you don't want it to be connected anymore, you just remove it. It synchronizes with the updates on that system, and you now have information and answer from these third-party systems. So that was Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio has two features. One of them is in the Copilot license, the one I am talking about today. And there is another one that is a standalone that would help you build your own Copilot. To build a chat engine powered by AI only gets information from specific resources. That one is a standalone. It doesn't come with the license. The one that comes with the license is the one that enhances the knowledge base and extending the knowledge base of the M365 chat to whatever platform you have in your organization. So that was Copilot Studio. The last part of my presentation today is the functionality of AI on Microsoft 365 desktop applications. Now, every application in the business license that is related to Microsoft 365, either a desktop app or a web platform of the same app, now has AI in some way or another. For example, if we're talking about Microsoft Teams, either Teams on the web or Teams desktop application now have Copilot operating if you have the Copilot add-on added to your license. And this addition is serving the main purpose of the application. Like you see what this app does. and then AI would help you in the matter of the functionality of the app. For example, if we're talking about Microsoft Teams, Teams is an instant messaging application. You make calls on Teams, you schedule meetings and you attend them on Teams, you chat on Teams, stuff like that. So it makes sense that the functionality of AI on Teams would serve in the same direction. So, for example, let's say you are invited to two meetings maybe at the same time, right? And you're gonna miss one of them. Then you would actually attend one, and the other one you will after the call have um, let's say a summary of this meeting. The summary of the meeting would actually look like this. It's an AI captured page, as you see here, AI notes, and there's the recording. It's a 2 hour meeting, and you don't have time to jump from a 2 hour meeting to listen to another 2 hours recorded. So you have the meeting notes captured here. And as I said, there are references. So after you read this, if you're not very sure, you can click on the reference and check either the transcript or the recording itself. It will take you to the part of the transcript and the part of the recording where this information was mentioned, right? And here are the meeting notes, and as you see here, the meeting follow-up tasks. So if something was assigned to someone, like they agreed, for example, that person A will send an email to the rest of the attendees, or person B will print this or do that, you would find that captured here in the follow-up tasks. Now, let's say you don't want to hear the recording and you don't want to read the meeting notes or the summary. You just want to ask about the specific thing, if it was mentioned or not. In that situation, you would click on the Copilot icon and then you would ask it here. So you ask it about a specific detail, it will bring you the information, and you can actually get back to check the references if you want. So this is after a meeting. One also great thing about the usability in Teams is during a meeting. So if you joined the meeting late and you wanted to catch up with the meeting, so you open the Copilot window and you ask it, what was said so far in the meeting? Or summarize the meeting for me, or recap it for me. Whatever you say, it will do. So it will recap the meeting for you. Maybe you want to get involved, you want to join the conversation, so you can ask it to, okay, list an action item for me, or what questions were not answered during the meeting, or suggest a question. When you do that, then the AI suggests questions for you to get you involved in the conversations in some way or another. So again, it serves the purpose of the app. That's basically what it does. In Microsoft Outlook, let's say you have been looped in a conversation or a thread that has 100 emails, and then you have been looped, and people are expecting your input. So now you can either just reply, you know, or you need to read the whole thing. Now AI is giving you a third option to summarize the whole thread for you, and also to suggest a reply for you. And if you like that reply, but it doesn't sound like you can click on the sound like me. It will change the way the email is written, but it will keep the core information in. However, it will use machine learning to make it sound like you. Because, as I said in the beginning, AI is tailored for every user. So it studies your way and then it works with you in the same approach that you usually handle your work. Many examples across the desktop applications, and one of the most complicated applications that Microsoft Office 365 is offering is Excel. Excel is a bit of like an expert app. Like if you want someone to get things done on Excel, you usually get an Excel expert. Now AI is actually closing that gap a bit. You can now write down commands, prompts, and AI would change these prompts into actual changes in a table. It will make anyone capable of working with data in Excel. Let's watch a small demo about Excel. Maybe that would make it a bit easier.
Python in Excel brings the world of Excel and Python analytics together, and now Copilot is here to help you along the way. With the new py function, you can use powerful Python libraries Write within your Excel workbook to create compelling plots and visualizations, train machine learning models, and other advanced analytics. With Copilot, you don't need to be an expert. All you need are simple prompts. Want to estimate your future sales? Copilot can generate forecasts using one of the multiple Python libraries available through Python in Excel. You can then better understand and visualize the data by requesting a chart. With Copilot, you can create Python visualizations like multiplots to see how variables relate to each other, or use powerful data cleansing techniques such as regex to apply consistent formatting to your data, or apply machine learning models. Copilot brings the rich capabilities of Python in Excel to your fingertips.
So that was an example on how it's being used in Excel. One more thing that you can do basically is that you can, for example, open PowerPoint and then ask PowerPoint, open the Copilot icon and then click on the attachment. And then you can attach a Word document and ask a PowerPoint to do a presentation for you about the information inside that Word document. You can use Word to merge a couple of files together into one unified file with the same narrative. Or you can simply rewrite whatever is written in front of you. So you can highlight, for example, this paragraph here and ask it to change it in the form of a table if the data inside that paragraph is, it has some statistics to be changed into a table. Maybe we can do something here live. I'm not sure if the VPN will affect that or not, but let me just open a blank PowerPoint presentation and maybe try to create something using AI. I just have a new VPN installed, so I'm not sure about if AI will work or not. Because AI, like the rest of the applications of M365, requires some gateways to be opened. So yeah, let's create a presentation about maybe our partner here today, Ha-Shem Limited in Nigeria. Let's see what it does. So I just opened PowerPoint and I clicked on the Copilot icon and I'm asking it now to create a presentation about some company. And I chose our partner here as an example. Yeah, it's working. Okay, nice. Okay, here we go. All right, is it it's an IT thing? Presentation background. Ha-Shem Limited, Nigeria company founded in 2010. Interest in various sectors such as oil and gas, agriculture, and finance. Oh, it looks like you're not just an IT company. Well, that's new to me. So as you see here, this is just something it came up with in less than a minute. Wide range of products. That's a very big company. I thought you guys were IT just only. Product range offers a range of premium products that cater to the needs of its customer. Each product is designed to help customers achieve their goal, whether they're personal or professional. Okay, cool. That's amazing. See, all these things, just using the resources on the internet, I just gave it a vague request, right? And I didn't limit the scope of AI to just come up with something, let's say, small or based on specific resources, but it came up with all these information in a minute. So imagine how much time it would take the average employee to come up with a presentation like this one here. Now, if you don't like this content or you want to change it, you can basically keep following up on the conversation here. And whatever you're asking the Copilot to do, it will start changing the original presentation here to match your needs. Like, If I, for example, switched off this presentation here, because I usually do that, recently I started doing this. And let me reshare my screen again on another blank presentation to show some real life example of the nature that represents the nature of my work. See, I'm a solution specialist, right? And solutions are different from one call to another. Maybe this time I am going in a call to talk about the let's say DLP, right? Let me now show you how I do it. Here we go. Blank one. Let's share again. And let's choose the blank one here, right? So again, as I said, it's about the usability of the app, right? Now this one is for presentations. So I will ask it, okay, now I am going to create a presentation about compliance solutions in Microsoft 365 and highlight data loss prevention. See, usually such thing takes me hours. Takes me hours to come up with something new, to even understand which topics I will talk about and put them on the screen. I know a lot of things, so how can I get that into a presentation in a very short period of time? And that's what AI does. It gets things done very quickly. See, like if you're starting with this here, compliance solutions in Microsoft 365, best practices for data loss prevention. It really did what I asked it to do. I told it to talk about compliance, but highlight DLP, and that's what it's doing here. And when you go through with the presentation, you would understand how it is shifting the whole narrative of the presentation to focus on DLP. So that's basically what I like about it. It gets so many things done and in a very short amount of time. And if I want to change anything, if I asked it here to add more slides about this, remove a slide about that, it does that for me. I heard that actually a scan that Microsoft did across our customers based on the usability of their applications that 90% of Microsoft 365 users are using 10% of the capabilities of our apps. 90%, like the majority of our users, are using the very least amount of features in our applications. And Copilot here is unlocking the rest of these features so that they can be used in your day-to-day work. So now you get the idea about the usability of Copilot in a business environment. Now I will move to one more thing before I end my presentation. And then we start taking questions. So the last part here is you as an admin, because we are following up with the admins who start deploying Copilot in their environments. So such statistics here, as you see on the screen, will tell you how much Copilot is impacting your organization. You see how much time it saved and how much productivity was boosted based on using AI in the organization. You would understand such statistics and understand how your users are interacting with the AI in your organization. So the last thing here is to talk about is the license. And I needed to highlight this because usually this creates a confusion. We have two types of licenses for this specific product I'm talking about. One for family and personal account, and this one is technically the same price as ChatGPT 4, but it gives you more capabilities. It uses the same chat engine as GPT, but it gives you the Copilot on some Microsoft 365 applications. The Copilot Pro here is for personal use. Like if you have a Microsoft account using your live.com or your hotmail.com, Gmail even.com, and you're using a Microsoft account using these UPNs, but the one I'm talking about today is Copilot for M365. This is the one that is related to business organizations. When you have your own custom domain and your company is operating using your own domain, right? So this is a business environment. It has the enterprise grade protection. It interacts with Microsoft Graph because this is exclusive to M365 for business. And indeed, it has the studio license that expands the knowledge of your AI outside M365 and the public internet. You have a priority model access, meaning that if the server is busy, which is usually is, you get the priority of the capabilities of AI, right? And indeed, web grounding and commercial data. So the internet, the public internet, and the internal data of your organization. I am done with my presentation. The last thing I want to mention is this price here is per user per month. So you're adding a license to your base license, which would be a business license like basic, standard, premium, or an enterprise license like E1, E3, E5. You're adding the Copilot to it, and that's the price per user per month. Usually, the organizations we recently are purchasing a small number of licenses for the people they think they need it, so that they can test it, get familiar with it, and then understand the impact. Then they see if they want to get more or not. And usually they do. But sooner or later, everybody will be using AI. So that like it's gonna happen anyway. So thank you for your time. Now let's open the floor for some questions. I'll be happy to take them.
Thank Thank you so much, Mohammed. Thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. I believe that we've all been able to see the beauty of Copilot for Microsoft 365 and how it actually affects our everyday working at different organizations. You know, it's not just about having it, but it's about what it's going to do for you. It's about how it's going to make your work easier and faster, and how it also, you know, improves the productivity in your organization and, you know, the revenue that you get. So please, I have activated the mics for everybody. If you want to speak or ask a question, you can just use the raise hand feature and I'll just bring you on board to ask your question. And if you would prefer to do that via chat, you can also type your question in the chat. So we have about 10 minutes for questions, please. You can raise your hand or unmute your mic to ask a question.
No.
Yes, Mr. Adams. Yes, we are going
Where
to
do you
share the
put it?
slides after the session. Okay, I think I have one hand raised. Oladeji, please go
This one
ahead.
is mine. Where do you keep your access card?
Oladeji, please go ahead.
If you're speaking, you're on mute. We can't hear you. So you need to remove the mute first.
Okay, we can't hear you yet, Oladeji. Okay, while we're waiting for him, Chimaobi, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Bamidele. Thank you, Mohammed, for the presentation. Thanks a lot. So on the free license for individuals, this works across, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, cool. So this works across free licenses like Apple.com, Copilot.com, and things like that, right? Can I use can I also use so can I also use, you know, like the free access to Excel, Word, and PowerPoint with this free license of Copilot, or is it just purely as ChatGPT works, ask questions, ask prompts, and get responses?
Exactly, yes. As you see here in the comparison, first of all, it's going to be a family or a home subscription for Copilot Pro here. And the free version of Copilot Pro is similar to the free version of Copilot for M365. It's the same free version, meaning you can open the Bing.com, and from Bing you will have the Bing chat, and up, like above it a bit, you will start seeing the Copilot icon. When you click on it, it will take you to the ChatGPT 3.5 and 4 window. Now Microsoft has given you the capability to switch between both, since this is a new thing, but in the future this will be removed. So you will only get the ability to ask questions, and it will do the search on the public internet and get you information from there. But this is as far as it goes. If you want to use the capabilities of AI that I presented in this session, if you have a family account, then you can purchase the $20 one. But if you are in a business, which is the case of our meeting today, you need to have the one for M365, because this one is dedicated for businesses, and to activate that using a custom domain, that means that you have an organization. Let's say you're a bank, for example, and now you want to use AI inside your organization. There is no other way than using this one here, as this one is the one dedicated for businesses. But the free one is just about questions and answers, and doesn't get you more than this, basically.
All right, does that answer your question, Mabi?
Yes, absolutely. I think he answered it without saying it. I was asking if you could do, with the free access you have to Office, so the free version of Office Online. I'm not sure you can use Copilot for that one. I
Yeah,
think it's just the
unfortunately,
Bing.
no.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Thanks, Mohammed.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you for that. Oladipo, you can go ahead now, please.
All right. Thank you very much, Mohammed, for the session. So my question is, you mentioned that Copilot usually source for its data within your Microsoft 365 organization and also from the internet. So I want to know, how does Copilot manage, personal information like PIIs within your organization, and ensures that it does not expose some personal data that is within your organization too. For instance, if I'm trying to spool for some information, or I'm asking Copilot for some things, and these informations are confidential about my organization, or trying to know some informations about documents within my HR or my management, is Copilot not going to expose all of that? I don't know if you get my question.
Yeah, I totally understand the question, and it's a very critical point. That's why I started my whole presentation with it. See, it's about, let me put it this way. If you can open office.com, search for something and find it, if you have the capability of searching for something inside your organization and find it, then AI will use it, because AI will be able to find it too. Let's take the example of the HR document or the HR sensitive information that you're talking about. Let's say it's on a SharePoint site dedicated for HR, right? Now, if you have access to that SharePoint site, then when you ask Copilot a question about that piece of information, it will get you the answer from everywhere, including that SharePoint site. If you don't have access to that SharePoint site, then when you ask Copilot a question about this information, Copilot will not bring an answer from that SharePoint site, because it only uses the data that you have access to. When it provides answers, it doesn't get you any piece of data that you don't have access to. You need to have the access first. And as I said, the thing that you can find yourself, AI can find as well. If you can't find, because it's tailored per user, right? Every user has his own scope of information. The same way you have your own inbox, you have your own private chats on Teams, you have your own OneDrive. Your AI can only see the data that you have access to. So imagine AI is your representative, and now it's going to Graph, asking for data from Microsoft Graph. Graph will only show AI the data that you have access to see. If you don't have access to see that data, Graph will not show it to AI. Does that answer your question?
All right. Thank you very much. I think that answers the question.
All right, thank you so much, Oladeji. Does any other person have any other question? Okay, I think I can see a chat now. So we have a chat again, Mohammed from Olajumoke. She says, where exactly does Copilot for Microsoft 365 store its content, the prompt, and the responses? That's the first question. And the second one says, does Copilot support platforms other than Microsoft? Let's say I am meeting with a customer with Google Meet or Zoom. Can it help summarize my meeting?
The first question about storing the data, the data is stored the same way your current data with M365 is stored. Like our servers exist all over the world. And as I presented in the beginning of the session, the data is protected and following the regulations all over the world. Like whatever country you're placed in, the regulations in that country is respected or are respected, and we do not really mess with our customers' data since we started. It has been protected the same way. So our servers that save your information, private information, are the ones that are saving your AI utilization. But there is something very important here. As I said in the beginning, the model of AI is usually training itself to provide better answers every time you use it. But in the case of businesses, that doesn't leave your organization. So the training is happening, as I said, per every user, based on machine learning and based on what you do as a user with AI. It doesn't go out your organization in any means. So your data is encrypted when it's still, and your data also is encrypted in transit. You don't have to worry about the security of your data, as it's the same exact security we're using for Exchange Online, for SharePoint Online, for the rest of our technologies and features. About the other platforms, Copilot can summarize the meetings in Teams because Teams is under the boundary of M365. However, let's say you're talking about Zoom. Now comes the idea of Copilot Studio. Let's say Zoom has the capability of recording meetings and having a transcript for them. If the Zoom platform where this data is stored can be connected to Copilot Studio, then yes, Copilot will get the data from there. But Copilot as a Microsoft technology cannot be implemented to operate another app. Like, again, the whole idea behind Studio is to extend the knowledge base of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So if you are saving the transcript and the recording of a meeting on SS, a website, let's say something with a URL, then you are connecting that platform to M365 Graph using Studio, then the data will be accessible by the AI of M365. So there has to be something in the middle because it doesn't like jump to other applications without them being connected through Studio. So that's the whole idea behind Studio, is to expand the knowledge base of AI outside the boundaries of M365 and the public internet. That's okay. Did I answer the questions?
All right. Please confirm, has he been able to answer the question, Ma? I think we'll just wait for that feedback. Well, okay, yes, she said yes. All right, thank you so much for that question. Does any other person have another question? You could just use the raise hand feature or just type your question in the chat. Before we round up, we have just about a minute left to leave the call. Okay, Stephen, please go ahead.
All right, thank you for this wonderful session. My question is just about this same Copilot. I've actually tried it out with Microsoft Teams in the meeting, and what I was expecting to have is like a summarized minute of meeting after the meeting. But what I got is just a note that does transcription. So like just putting a word per participant or per speaker in front of it. So I really don't know if this is how it was designed, or is something probably wrong with it, or is it license based that will give me the whole minute of the meeting. I don't know why I'm not getting that. Thank you.
Do you have a Copilot license?
Yes.
You have a Copilot license, and which meeting are we talking about? One that we have now? Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't get the answer. Are you talking about this meeting that we're having now?
No. I use it for a personal meeting, and enable it. Yes, not this meeting actually. It's another meeting that I use it for. But I'm not getting, like, I tried out a third-party app like Read.ai. I was trying to see. I'm expecting much more from Copilot. But the way Read.ai gave me, it was able to summarize it, and although I was a trial version for Read.ai, but with Copilot, I have a license for it. But what I'm seeing is just like a transcription. I'm not really getting the full minute of the meeting based on that session had. Yes.
That's not, well, let me tell you how it works. So first of all, you have to be in the organization of the organizer of the meeting. Like, for example, this meeting here that we're having now is through Ha-Shem.com, yeah? And I am a Microsoft.com account. So I will not be able to see the summary of the meeting if it was ever summarized by AI, as it is outside the boundaries of my organization. That's the first thing. The second thing, of course, recording or transcription should be enabled for the meeting that my organization is organizing so that I can capture the AI notes. So the two conditions should happen for such a summary like the one on the screen here to appear. Transcription is an option, and this recap and AI notes here is another one. So there is a transcript as you see here, and there's an AI notes. The AI notes will never look like the transcript. This one is a different. This one is different from that one. So if you don't have an option, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm getting that. So for recap, is there any special license for recap? I think that recap should be able to give me what I want, but I've not been able to use recap.
Well, in that case, that would be something with the license, or maybe you're using the old Teams. Maybe you need to update Teams to the latest version. You need to test on the Teams on the web. There are some steps to make sure that that everything is set up properly so that the recap would work. But the option should appear. If the option is not appearing here, first of all, you have to check with your admin about the license, and then you have to check that Teams is running on the latest version, and test on the web, Teams on the web, see now some troubleshooting maybe that you can involve our tech support team. But you have to make sure about these prerequisites first, and then it should be something exactly like this one here. This window here with the recording, and then the AI notes here.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure, Steve.
All right, thank you so much, Steven, for that question. I think the last question that I got, I already answered that. The person was asking if there is a learning resource for Copilot. All right. So and also we have one from Ebenezer saying that I hope in the long run we don't have to subscribe to Copilot Studio. Is there anything you want to say to that?
The first, I'm trying to open the chat here to see the first question again. So the first, what is the first question about again? Sorry.
Okay, so the first one is the person asking if there is a learning resource that could be accessed.
Learning, yeah, definitely. There is a public resource, like you can actually go through it and then become a bit of like certified. That doesn't have an exam or anything, but you can become certified on getting ready. It's Get AI Ready. I'll share it with you so you can share it with our customers after the call. That you can start exploring the capabilities of AI. The second thing about I hope in the long run we don't get to subscribe to Copilot Studio. Well, using AI nowadays is a bit expensive. So Studio, we have two studios here, but I think you're talking about the one that is helping you building your own AI powered chat engine, and that one is a standalone. So to use the technology in such a limited border to some resources to achieve business needs is I believe it should be expensive at the time being. Maybe in the future that would change. It all depends on the type of it's like any other technology that becomes very new, like any other one out there, like maybe mobile phone with touch screens. Back in the day, it was like something unique first when iPhone came out, but now it's everywhere. So the AI thing in business environments is a bit new. So yeah, it all depends on how much it will evolve in the next few years.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mohammed. I don't think there are questions again from anyone. And there are no hands raised, and also we don't have any question in the chat. So I will just give us one last information that's to everyone. So at Ha-Shem Limited, we also have a subsidiary called Ha-Shem Academy, and it's a learning institute that is in partnership with professional industry bodies. We deliver trainings in tech. It's also in partnership with Microsoft Learn as well. We deliver trainings in non-tech fields. We also have a facility that is open for professional examinations. And to crown it all, we also have a co-working space right there in the heart of Yaba, Lagos State. So if you want to find out more about the offers that we have, you can just send an email to training@hashem.com. And if you have a direct access to our marketing email too, you can also send it to that email and you get a response. And also we have a podcast that runs monthly, and it's called Tech Trailblazers Podcast. It is a podcast you would want to listen to, and here we talk about tech in the most relatable way, in the most fun way, and I would say this is where tech meets you. All right, and this podcast is available on Spotify, on Anchor, on Google Podcast, and Apple Podcasts as well, so you can access it through any of these channels, and I'm sure that you're going to enjoy it. And the last one we had actually talked about work-life balance. And I believe that that is one part you would want to listen to. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time today. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for the session. And I believe that one way or the other, everybody has been able to pick out something from what we've learned about Copilot, for Microsoft 365. And for everyone that has Microsoft 365 in their environment, this is an opportunity for us to, haste up the productivity rate in our organizations. And even if it's something that you might not be able to implement company-wide right now, you might want to start with your decision makers, implement Copilot for them and see how it works for them, see how it changes, the work rate in the organization. And I'm sure that from there, organizations would want to implement it company-wide. So I would say we all need to jump on this opportunity while it's still available right now. And lastly, thank you also to our customers that have joined today, and also to our new prospects, or should I say the new registrants that we have. This is Ha-Shem Limited. This is where IT has come to stay. Madam Bolande, do you have any question, ma? You can see your hands raised. Okay, I don't think you have any question. Okay, Basi, do you have any question?
Yeah, please, can you drop your website address on the chat box?
Yes.
How this is for services are offering.
All right, thank you. I think there is a network each there, so I can't hear you again, Mr. Basi. So please, if you have any other. Okay. I think I got that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. So if you have any other question from any other person, you can always reply to the emails I sent to you earlier, and we'll pick it up from that. And also, if you want us to do a live presentation for your company, company-wide, or you want us to do a live presentation to your decision makers in your organizations for them to see live how Copilot from Microsoft 365 works, please reply to my email, or you can fill the evaluation form that I've dropped in the chat, and we're going to pick it up from there. And if you want us to even come and do it physically in your organization, trust us, we're going to be there to do it for you. So once again, thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And I'm going to be wishing you all a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, team. Have a lovely day.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, everyone.